My fiancé and I have been together for just over 2 years. Like normal relationships, we have had our ups and downs, but we eventually overcome them and resolve them. I'm currently carrying our first baby girl, and I'm supposed to be medically induced either today or tomorrow due to some health issues. We're both excited. However, yesterday I was experiencing lower abdomen and back cramping that was similar but more painful than period cramps. I got worried because I am currently 38 weeks and was told by my OB that any pains I feel, I should go to the hospital and get checked for early labor. So after dealing with those pains all day yesterday, in the evening, I decided that I should go get checked. At the time, I was visiting with my brother and older sister, and they offered to come along because, well, to put it straight, I'm scared of going into labor and having to feel contractions. I told my fiancé about the pains, and he asked if I would like him to come along, and I said yes. My fiancé, when around people he's not familiar with, is a very socially awkward person, very reserved and quiet, which I totally understand because I am the same way too, especially around his family. I do talk to his mom quite a bit when we visit them. She's a very nice lady, and so is his dad and brother-sister-in-law. He's also quiet when talking to his own family. When we visit, he'll just sit there on his phone and ignore them when they try to talk to him. He mentioned that he and his dad don't have the best relationship due to some past issues. But I don't know why he doesn't talk to his mom. When we leave, he's always ranting and raving about his mom being a lovely person and that he's a total mama's boy, yet he hardly speaks to her when we go over. Anyway, what I'm getting at is that he keeps a distance from his family, seeing his parents maybe once every 2 weeks and his brother once a month. We all live in the same city and same side of town. On the other hand, I'm very close with my family, mostly my immediate family, i.e. brother, sisters, parents only, and we like to chat and joke around with each other. When my 2 siblings came along yesterday, we were talking mostly to help me calm down from being nervous. My brother even tried to talk to him, but he wouldn't budge. I tried to talk to my fiancé about something while we were there, but he would just ignore me and stay on his phone. I didn't think anything of it, but then it happened again. The whole time we were there, he was huffing and puffing in the corner on the chair. We were there for about 2 hours, waiting for results. In the meantime, a doctor came in to check me, which resulted in my siblings leaving the room with just me and him. After the exam was done, I asked him what was wrong and if he was okay. He just shrugged and walked out of the room. I got dressed and left right behind him. My siblings were walking behind us, talking about being excited to be an aunt and uncle and whatnot. We got in the car, and that's when our discussion happened. I asked him once again if he was okay or maybe just tired due to it being late. He then basically just started bashing my family about how they make him want to suffocate because of how often they are around. I laughed and said, "No, they're not. They hardly visit us. I always go to them." He said a lot of hurtful things, including, "I think we jumped into this too soon. And if your family is going to be around, they're all going to basically shun me out, and I'll have no choice but to leave or stay in my room when they come over to visit baby." I had literally no idea where the hell that came from, because my family has been nothing but nice to him. He's always invited to our family functions and whatnot, but he always declines and says, "Sorry, no, I'm not going." We had a big argument about it for a few hours. I don't know if I went too far, but I told him to not bother showing up for when I get induced, since my mom is most likely to be there. He got pissed off and asked, "WTF why? That's my daughter." I told him, "I'm only being induced. Who knows when I'll actually have her? I'll go alone like I did with 80% of my doctor appointments. I also don't want you to feel suffocated by them. Just trying to help. You can come afterwards when the contractions get stronger and more consistent." That must have struck a nerve because he went on another rant of, "Looks like we have different family values. I don't think we were meant to be ever." Like literally, he's saying all of this stuff because my family wants to be there? What, 4 people in total maybe? We're already going to be in the delivery room alone together while everybody else waits in the waiting room. I already set that boundary with my family, and they respected it. So today I messaged his sister-in-law, Sil, and asked if they would like to come see the baby after we have her, and once we're all settled and relaxed in the hospital. She was excited and said yes. They'll both come by and get Cute baby snuggles. I told my fiance this morning that they're gonna come by after I have her, which suddenly he seemed super excited about. Then he went on about how his parents are gonna be jealous because they won't get to see her first. I told him to figure out his family issues while I figure out mine. I want my daughter to meet her family and get to know them on both sides. I don't know, everything I've been doing during my pregnancy revolves around how my fiancé would react, I guess. Do I tell my family to wait until we're discharged from the hospital to see her? And if so, I would have to drive her over there because he doesn't want anybody here. He's under the assumption that nobody should be there or should try to visit us with our baby because it's our family and we need to bond with her, which I get. But I also want her to bond with her family on both sides. I don't know what to do. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. I'm really sorry you've procreated with such a rude, selfish man. He's going to help you parent about as much as he helps you carry polite conversations with family, i.e., sit there scrolling on his phone. My jaw dropped when I saw he didn't attend prenatal appointments with you. I'm also sorry this is all happening when you could go into labor at any minute. I encourage you to surround yourself with family and friends who will actively support you and not just sulk in a corner on their phones. Prepare to be a single mother and file for child support as soon as you are able. Sorry, but your fiancé is a dud. The sooner you cut yourself loose from him, the better. Comment 2. Yikes. Your fiancé sounds awful, to be honest. I'm an introvert and don't love socializing. But even I know that there's a big difference between not being naturally social and being a jerk. Your fiancé doesn't seem to understand that at all. Everything is about him. Personally, anyone who is telling me, I don't think we're meant to be together, is not someone I'm taking my brand new daughter home to. Maybe go live with your parents for a bit while you and your fiancé attend counseling while separated to see if you can salvage the relationship. Selfish people do not make good parents. Now for the update, thanks for sticking around. So the baby came and it was a mess from the start. I was induced and my mom was there, just like I said. My fiancé didn't show until the last minute, and when he did, he was all apologies and smiles like nothing happened. I was too tired to argue, so I let it slide. But then, right after our daughter was born, he dropped a bomb. He invited his parents to come to the hospital without telling me. They showed up and my mom was there, and it was just awkward. His mom was trying to be nice, but you could tell she was upset she wasn't the first to know. Then my brother and sister showed up, and my fiancé got all quiet again. He barely held our daughter before saying he needed some air and left the room. I was hurt, but I had my hands full with the baby and my family cooing over her. I thought he'd come back soon, but he didn't. Hours passed and he was nowhere. I called him and he said he was just taking a walk to clear his head. I didn't buy it, but what could I do? The next day, he was back to his normal self, or so it seemed. He was all about the baby, taking pictures, and even suggested we name her after his grandmother. I agreed because it seemed important to him. But then, he started making plans for us to move closer to his parents. I was blindsided. We never talked about moving. I said no, we had our life here, close to my family. He got mad, said I was being selfish, and that's when I made the wrong choice. I told him fine, we'd move. But inside, I knew it was a mistake. We got home, and things went from bad to worse. He started going out more, saying he was looking for a new place for us, but he'd come back late, not talking about any houses he'd seen. I started to get suspicious. One night, he didn't come home at all. I called, and he said he was staying at his parents' because it was late. I felt like I was losing him, and in a way, I was losing myself too. I decided to confront him. I asked him straight if he was seeing someone else. He denied it, of course, but something in his eyes told me he was lying. I didn't have proof, but my gut was screaming at me. I told him if he didn't want to be with me, he should just say so. He got defensive, said I was paranoid, and that's when I did it. I told him to leave, to go stay with his parents until we could figure things out. I thought it would make him realize what he was risking, but I was wrong. He left, and the next thing I know, he's telling me he wants a paternity test. He said he had doubts about our daughter being his. I was devastated. How could he even think that? but I agreed just to prove him wrong. The test came back, and of course, he was the father. But instead of apologizing, he just said he had to be sure. Now I'm here with our daughter, wondering if I'll ever be able to trust him again. He's still at his parents', and I'm trying to figure out what to do next. I don't want my daughter to grow up in a broken home, but I also don't want her to think it's okay for someone to treat her mom like this. Thanks for reading. My fiancé secretly plots with her ex to ditch our dream apartment and betray our future. But when her plan crumbles, I watch as she loses everything and learns the hard way that loyalty can't be bought. I, 27-year-old male, have been dating my fiancé, 30-year-old female, for over 2.5 years now. Last year, I proposed the idea of marriage to her. She accepted it and was thrilled about it. She spoke to her friends and family about it. I'm the type of person who likes to make plans and work toward them. One day, I brought up the idea of purchasing an apartment together by the end of 2024. She agreed to it, and then I started saving money because every commitment is sacred to me, especially when it comes to securing one's future. A couple of weeks ago, she went to her parents' place, and they had a nasty argument. I'm not aware of the details, nor do I want to poke around and get the details of the conversation. Apparently, they mocked her for being 30 years old and not owning something of her own. Then, they moved towards the idea of purchasing a place for her, but under their conditions and liking. Eventually, she came back to me furious and canceled our plans to purchase the apartment together. She then said, "I want to purchase an apartment of my own with my own money. I'm going to take a loan and do it on my own with nobody's help. I will show everyone that I am valuable and can stand up on my own 2 feet." I'm completely taken aback by this because just a couple of months ago, we had decided to do it together. I talked to her about pitching some money towards the apartment as it's for us, and this led to a small altercation between us. It ended with her being hesitant and telling me that I can help her with the interior of the house. The hesitation I sensed put me off, and I told her that I grew up in a family where my parents planned goals together and did it together. So this concept of her wanting to do it on her own is completely foreign to me. But then I told her, "Okay, I'll not interfere with your plans. You do as you want to." After this conversation, I feel like this is a pattern that's likely to repeat, and it's bothering me. After spending a long time thinking, I decided to finish my late dad's house projects, build a vacation cabin for my mom, and focus on my goals. I want to effectively divert all my focus towards my family and myself. Now here's the thing. The decision I've made is bothering me. It goes against my actual way of life, as I come from a family where family is put before everything else. Plus, when my dad passed away, I was so focused on my work that I didn't even imagine the time I lost with him. These actions of mine are a far cry from my actual values. How do I deal with these mixed thoughts? Edit. I have added a few more comments to make things a bit clearer. So, we're from different cultural backgrounds. She's Eastern European Caucasian, and I'm Asian. The reason we've decided to purchase an apartment ASAP is due to a few negative experiences we've had as an interracial couple. I have my own assets that are independent of this mutual purchase in my country, which I am currently developing to ensure my financial security. There was a point in time where her parents were against meeting me. Eventually that thawed, and they agreed. I had the opportunity to spend time with her entire family, and the meeting was fruitful. I am unsure if that thaw was genuine now. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. I don't see why you would put everyone before yourself when you are 30. You should be pursuing whatever you want. From your list of projects, there is nothing that's for you. All if about other people. Why? Don't you have any goal for yourself? About your fiancé, I'd be more concerned about her making a big financial decision out of spite. That's not how decisions are made. At least I want someone who makes big financial decisions in a logical and reasonable way. Comment 2. Hey there, it sounds like you're in a tough spot with your fiancé changing plans about buying a home together. It's important to have an open chat with her about your concerns and try to understand where she's coming from. Meanwhile, don't forget to prioritize your own goals and family needs without feeling guilty. Finding a balance through communication and support is key as you navigate this tricky situation together. Hang in there, buddy. Now, for the update, thanks for all the comments on my last post. So, a lot has happened in the past 3 days. Remember how my fiancé wanted to buy an apartment on her own? Well, turns out, she wasn't exactly honest about her intentions. I found out she's been secretly meeting with her ex. Yeah, the guy she always said was just a friend. I couldn't believe it. I mean, we were planning a life together, and here she was, sneaking around with someone from her past. I confronted her about it, and she tried to deny it at first. But when I showed her the messages I accidentally found on her laptop, she broke down. She said she was confused and needed someone to talk to, someone who wasn't me. That stung. I couldn't wrap my head around it. We were supposed to be a team, but she went behind my back. It felt like a betrayal of the worst kind. But that's not even the half of it. Her ex, let's call him Mr. X, was actually helping her with the down payment for the apartment. That's right, the apartment she was so adamant about buying on her own. Turns out, she was planning to move in with him. I was floored. All our plans, our future, it was all a lie. I was angry, sure, but more than that, I was hurt. I had put my trust in her, and she threw it away like it was nothing. I needed to do something, so I took a bold step. I called her parents. I know, I said I wouldn't get involved in their drama, but this was different. I told them everything. They were shocked, to say the least. They had no idea about Mr. X or the apartment. They thought we were happy and planning our future together. Her parents were furious with her. They had a huge argument, and in the end, they sided with me. They told her she was making a huge mistake and that she needed to think about what she really wanted. It was a mess, but I felt a sense of vindication. I wasn't the bad guy here. I was the one trying to build a life with someone I loved. In the aftermath, my fiancée was apologetic. She said she realized she made a mistake and wanted to make things right. But I don't know if I can trust her again. I've been focusing on my family's projects, like the vacation cabin for my mom. It's been a good distraction, and it feels right to be doing something for my family. And then, another news. My fiancé's ex, Mr. X, he's out of the picture. Apparently he got cold feet about the whole thing and backed out. So now she's left with no apartment, no ex, and a fractured relationship with her parents. She's been trying to talk to me, to explain and apologize, but I'm not sure what to do. I've been spending a lot of time thinking about what I want. I grew up believing in the importance of family and togetherness, and this whole ordeal has just reinforced that for me. I'm not sure where we stand as a couple, but I know that I need to be true to myself and my values, so that's where things are at. It's been pretty hard on us, and I'm just trying to find some solid ground again. Thanks for reading. My boyfriend cheated with my best friend and used my savings for his kinks. So I took him to court and watched him lose everything. Hi Reddit, I've been with my boyfriend for roughly 9 months, and we live together. I've known from early on that my boyfriend was kinky, and as a relatively open-minded person, I didn't let this deter me from dating him as we had a wonderful connection. My boyfriend has always told me that he's into piss play and butt stuff. And we have tried some stuff where he has pissed on my chest while we were shit-faced. And we've also tried a bit of butt stuff like fingers, butt plugs, and once with half his wiener inside. I didn't particularly enjoy either of these things, so I don't bring it up as something I want to do. But he communicates them to me as if they are his needs. For 4 months in our relationship, I was experiencing really bad GI issues, so both of the kinks kind of fell to the side, as feeling sexy enough for intimacy was hard enough. The problem is I feel like he is putting a lot of pressure on me to start these kinks again, and constantly jokes about it and sends me memes, which I've told him I don't like. He keeps bringing it up, and I don't shut him down completely because then he would get upset. I feel like he puts his needs above my well-being, because a lot of the time I feel very uncomfortable deep down about doing some of the things he wants, pissing on the face, and hardcore butt stuff. He tells me I don't love him because I don't try to accommodate his kinks, and he literally expects me to finger my own butt in the shower, to get ready for butt stuff and do all these other things. To be honest, I never liked the feeling of things up my butt, and I only ever did it for him, but the one time we did try his wiener, I remember that I was in pain and squeezing it shut, and he snapped at me, and I started crying after. The whole thing makes me feel deeply unloved, like he cares more about his kinks than my well-being and our otherwise loving relationship. Today, after he sent me the 50th meme about butt stuff, I told him that if he wants to frick me in the butt so bad, he should let me peg him. He definitely didn't find this funny, and we ended up in a fight where he tells me his needs aren't being met. I said I didn't want to discuss the issue outside of a couple's counseling session. And then he said fine. Then we wouldn't have any intimacy until we see one. I got really upset because it feels like he's withholding intimacy now as punishment. I just want to know if I'm wrong for not just being more open-minded with his kinks. So many people on Reddit say they would do anything if their partner expressed a desire. But I told him I'm open-minded, I just needed it to be more gentle and patient and loving. But he still responded with frustration and anger. I feel like I show him in so many ways how much I love him. But he acts like this is the only thing that matters. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. There's a reason he is dating a woman 10 years younger than him. The woman his own age won't put up with his crap. His intimacy kinks are not needs, and you don't have to change yourself to become his intimacy doll. He shows you an astounding lack of care or respect. If he truly believes he needs kinks in his life and is acting like he deserves them, then he needs to go out with someone who is explicitly into the same things he is, not try to drag you past your safety zone. This one's broken. Throw him back. Comment 2. Why are you doing backflips backwards to please him? You have not even been together for a year and need counseling because he can't accept that you don't like it. Isn't it funny that he got pissed as soon as you turned the situation around? That tells you all you need to know. Never do something you don't want just to please someone else. You are betraying yourself. Now, for the update. Thanks for sticking around for this update. So, things went from bad to worse. My boyfriend, let's call him Mr. Kink, decided to throw a curveball that I never saw coming. He cheated on me. With my best friend. Yeah, the one who always told me I should stand up for myself more. Turns out, she was standing a little too close to him. I found out when I came home early from work one day and walked in on them. They didn't even notice me at first, too caught up in their activities. I was stunned, frozen in place. When they finally saw me, the look of guilt on their faces was almost comical. Almost. I didn't say a word. I just turned around and left. I guess I should have been angry, thrown a fit or something, but I just felt numb. I went to my sister's place, and she was livid on my behalf. She wanted to confront them, but I just couldn't deal with it right then. A few days passed, and the reality of the situation started to sink in. I was being walked all over, and I had done nothing about it. My sister kept pushing me to take action, to kick him out, but I was just so drained. Then, the second bomb dropped. Mr. Kink had been using my savings to fund his little escapades. Savings that were meant for a down payment on a house, for our future. He'd drained the account. When I confronted him about it, he had the audacity to say that he deserved it for all the sacrifices he'd made in our relationship. That was the last straw. I couldn't just sit back anymore. I moved out of our apartment and took him to small claims court for the money. It wasn't about the money, really. It was about not letting him get away with it. The court date was set, and I was ready to face him. The day of the hearing, he didn't show up. The judge ruled in my favor by default. I got my money back, but it felt hollow. There was no satisfaction, no sense of victory, just the cold realization that the person I thought I knew was a stranger. In the aftermath, I started to rebuild. I got a new place, just for me. I cut ties with my so-called best friend. It was tough, but necessary. I started going to therapy, working through the betrayal and the feelings of worthlessness that had plagued me for so long. And then, as if I hadn't had enough drama, Mr. Kink showed up at my new place, begging for forgiveness. He said he'd made a mistake, that he missed me, that he'd change, but I could see the same selfishness in his eyes. I told him it was too late, that I was done being a doormat. He left and I haven't seen him since. I'm not saying I'm completely over it. There are days when the anger and the hurt bubble up, but I'm dealing with it. I'm learning to stand up for myself. to not let anyone treat me like I'm nothing. It's a work in progress, but I'm getting there. Thanks for reading this. It helps to get it all out. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.